gonna start off today with these two pictures. Everybody get a picture of that? Y'all good? So I want to give a shout out to Jameson, who sent these pictures to the office today for our staff and our players. And from what I understand, the story behind it is his dad brought him to the game, and obviously the rain started and the game kind of got the way it was, and Dad was ready to go, and Jameson said, "No, Dad, we are staying," and stayed for the entirety of the game and sent the pictures to just encourage our football team that all the hard work you've put into it, and was praising them about that. And so we want to give a special shout out to Jameson for being a true Tulsa Golden Hurricane fan, and appreciate all his support.
Any idea how old he is?
I've heard somewhere in the range of maybe 6, something like that. So we'll figure out all the rest of the details to it later. So one more time, Bruce. There you go. Yeah. Hey, outstanding penmanship and stayed in the lines and all that good stuff. All right. Again, just recapping last week, was proud of our football team. Worked through some adversity. Obviously didn't get the start we wanted, plus the weather blows in, but kept our composure, continued to battle. And I thought all 3 phases really contributed to the victory. It was a great job by our defense. I thought our offensive line and our running backs played extremely well. I thought we were explosive and efficient in the passing game, especially with the weather like it was. So was happy to see those things occur. Obviously, we've got to have more of that more often. But it was a good spark, and very proud of our team for the way they have continued to stay resilient and battle and work. We've got a huge test in front of us this week. Memphis is extremely talented. Coach Norvell and his staff always do an outstanding job anytime you travel to Memphis. Crowd and stadium and all of that is a factor, and so we know we're going to have our hands full. I think, their running back is he is the best back we've seen all year long. I think extremely talented, catching the ball out of the backfield, doing what he does in the run game. Got speed to take it to the house at any given point. Got the power to run over you, got, the agility to run around you, and that's going to be a major test for us. Still very explosive at the receiver spot when you look at all the different things that they're going to give you from a formation standpoint, plus the way they move around Pollard. He's a guy that you got to keep track of as well. And then, Coxie had another big game the other night. I think he had 10 catches for like 160 yards. So we know from a defensive standpoint it's going to put a lot of stress and pressure on us as you look at us offensively versus their defense. I think they've got 9 starters back off of that defense last year. A ton of talent. They're flying around to the football. They give you a bunch of different looks, and you've got to try to account for those things. So it's going to be a tough test, but we're excited about the opportunity and ready to get back on the practice field today and start installing. So with that, I'll take questions.
Coach, first, congrats on a great win last week. I liked what you said afterwards, that the food will taste better, the music will sound better. How are you feeling that now?
All of those things occurred. It was just nice to head to the house after a game, and I ordered a pizza and sat down and just enjoyed the night. You had the time change and all of that, so I was still up pretty late, but it was well worth that part of it. And to lay your head on the pillow and actually get a good night's sleep, that was nice too. So it was good to enjoy that for the 24 hours that we get, but obviously now you've got a huge test in front of you, and we've got to get back to work and try to use some of the momentum we got from the other night and apply it to this week.
I know you've said it a few times, it's starting to feel more like us. Can you embrace on that, what that is?
Yeah, and I think that's really more offensively what I'm speaking of. Just, with all the different things that have happened at quarterback for us, and Seth really, as a redshirt freshman, having to come in and deal with the defenses that he's seen. He's got another tough one this week, but just his progression, seeing us get a little bit more rhythm offensively with all the injuries that we've had up front, backfield-wise, guys being out, this guy's coming back, all of those things. Just felt like we're getting in a better rhythm. I think Seth's starting to see things a little bit better, making sure that his eyes are in the right spot. He's doing a better job in his progression. He's doing a better job kind of manipulating the pocket and being able to slide and buy another half a second or second right there that can deliver a ball. And then just, his confidence in throwing it. I think you've seen that in the last couple of weeks, and I feel like we're starting to see those things that I've been seeing in practice translate to the game field, and we've got to have more of that, especially this week.
First question, what kind of pizza did you get after the game?
I got pepperoni and hamburger
Okay, solid.
with ranch.
Oh, obviously.
I mean, you have to.
Obviously. I know you've said that guys have been doing the right thing all along.
It's like John was back for a second.
Well, I mean, that's I'm a reporter. That's important information.
I appreciate it.
I'm just making sure you're not putting pineapples on pizza. 'Cause it's not okay.
No.
You talked a lot about guys doing the right thing all season long, but how much does it re-energize guys? What have you seen the last couple of days? Maybe that excitement. I know you want guys to focus on the next opponent, but how much energy are you seeing as a result of that?
We'll see more of that today in practice, but just the carryover. Our practices have been really good. But you still got to understand the frustration and the grind of those type of days, and our guys have been resilient through that. It's a whole lot easier to go in and correct things off of tape after you've won than the other situation. So our meetings were really good. They were in really good spirits after those, but understanding we still got work to do and lots of ways to get better. But we needed that more than anything else, just as a shot in the arm and just the encouragement of that, hey, the work that we're putting in is really making a significant difference.
I'm guessing there were a lot fewer things shown on the tape to correct too, right?
There was, yeah. I mean, it was pretty much. I mean, obviously, there's going to be little things that you're always going to correct, and some big things that you're still going to correct. Obviously, when you give up, the explosive play there in the first quarter, we got to do a better job there. There's some things offensively that, we weren't really, up front. We were targeted wrong in a couple of different things, and those are things that you just continue to correct and look at and fix. Just like Seth with his turnover there after we've got a turnover, makes a great play and then is trying to make the ultimate play by scoring, and really the intelligent part of that is you picked up a first down. We're probably going to be first and go from about the 2. I love your enthusiasm. Here's a better way to try to make that happen, and those are all little things that we're coaching up that you got to continually coach. And Seth, as you've watched him starting to progress a little bit, he's very coachable, and so as you install things into him, he's going to really place emphasis on that and try to get those things done. There's just so many things, you got to narrow your list down. Okay, this week, this is what we're focused on. Now we're going to focus on this and continue to grow.
You touched on it in your open, but how do you quantify Memphis as an opponent, the caliber win it could be? Is this like another Texas opportunity? You look at Memphis, they almost knocked off UCF. How tough of an opponent and how big would this win be in the scheme of things?
They're a very talented football team. The one thing that I will say in college football, and especially in our conference, I don't care what your record is and who you're playing, you better line up and get ready to play. You look at some of the opponents that we've had over the past, to me, this is just our next opponent on the schedule, but obviously they're extremely talented. I mean, you look at, our South Florida game, to us, that should have been a win for us. We didn't get it done. We needed to get that done. South Florida at the time was ranked number 21, I think, in the country. You start looking at Tulane and what they did. Their record wasn't great when they came in here, but I told you how good their football team was, and you look at what they did last week. So our conference, I think, from top to bottom is extremely tough. I think Memphis is at the top of that list. It'll be a big battle for us and a big challenge. What they do offensively and defensively applies pressure to you. We got to do a good job of trying to create some answers and move the football and stop them from moving the football. And they're a rhythm team just like we are. So we've got to do a good job of getting them behind the chains and doing work early in the game.
Coach, you've said all season, we're close, and then the last couple of weeks you've said tired of being close,
Yeah.
right? Like tired of growing. Do you feel like now, after you finally kind of, as you said, seen the work pay off, have you gotten there? Can you say that you're tired of
No.
growing anymore, or are you just like, is this just like another step in the process?
I think it's just another step in the process. I mean, we're still growing. I mean, one win is great, but it doesn't fix everything. So, I mean, we've still got a lot of work to do, and we got a lot of young guys doing it. We're banged up, just like, I'm sure everybody is. But those young guys are learning each and every time we step on the practice field, each and every time we step out there for games. And this is just one step, and we've got to have a bunch more steps like this.
Was this kind of like a vindication almost, though, of this is who we can be?
Yeah,
we finally had a breakthrough.
I don't know if that's the right word or not, but it was good to see us go out and do what I thought we could do. As you watched, and I think Connecticut is just like we are from the standpoint they've had some opportunities. I mean, it was 7-7 at halftime with them in South Florida. They've been in some games and had opportunities, and whether it's one play here, one play there, bad break there, whatever it is. But it was good to see us go out and execute the way we executed on both sides of the football. For us to get, 28 points in the second quarter in those conditions, that was a good sign, and shows some of the explosiveness that we haven't seen, that we've been seeing in practice but hadn't put into the game. And so we've got to continue to keep doing those things.
What do you have to do against Henderson to have a chance in this game?
Well, you got to do a good job of, number one, you got to get a line correctly, and then we've got to do a good job of getting multiple hats to him. He's a guy, again, with his agility and his speed and strength. He's a hard one-guy tackle person, and so we've got to do a good job of getting multiple hats to that. Don't let him get ahead of steam. Try to bottle it up early, and when we get there, we've got to be great tacklers.
Your offensive line obviously played well the other night. How have they managed to keep improving as the season went on? Obviously you've moved some guys around, rotated some guys, and not having Tyler. How have they done in the last few weeks?
No, they've gotten better each and every week. Obviously when you lose Tyler, it's a big hit, and to me, probably one of the most dominant guards in our league, maybe across, and so it's hard to replace a guy like that. But that being said, the guys that are stepping in, they're doing a good job. We may not have as much punch up front as what we've had in the past because of that, but that being said, the young guys are in there battling, they're growing, and we took some good steps the other night. You look at Memphis's D-line, they're extremely talented up front. All of those guys are back, and so we'll have our hands full with them for sure.
Do you think Tyler will be back at some point?
No. I think I really think Tyler's done. He is done for the season. I can tell you that right now. We had a second surgery, and we really had to sit down and make the decision on, just thinking about his future and his knee, and what's the best situation. And really, I with the doctors and his parents and him and his wife, just made the decision that we went ahead and did the second surgery part of it, and he's on the road to recovery, but he won't make it back the rest of the season.
Anything else?
Ball-related question. Mike Gundy said yesterday at his press conference that he had all his players registered to vote. I was curious if you had any kind of interaction with your players about turning out to vote or anything like that.
My family and I, because my daughter turned 18, so we all went and voted this morning. Again, we live in a great country that allows you the opportunity to be involved in decisions made like that. But I think that is an individual choice. You know, I'm not downgrading what Gundy did. If that, you know, that works, that's great. But to me, within our country, you have the right to vote or not vote. But in my opinion, if you don't vote, then don't say anything, because you have an opportunity for your voice to be heard within your vote. And if you're not going to do that, then you don't really have a point to gripe about. So.
Just, is there an update on Chad? Went down late Saturday.
Yeah. Crazily enough, Chad basically broke his fibula right there above his ankle, and so you know, had surgery Monday. Him and Luke, crazily enough, both had surgery Monday, and so both are on the road back to recovery. So you know, obviously that puts us in a couple of different scenarios and different situations, but hate that for both of them. You know, Chad's had to deal with so many different injuries here, and his career has been plagued with injuries, and you know, just really feel for him from that standpoint. Obviously feel for Luke too. You know, this is the first time he's had something like that. You know, Chad's had to deal with an injury in high school. This will be his third injury here, and all of them, you know, are kind of fluke deals. I mean, the two that he had here previous were non-contact, and then, you know, the other night, just an awkward way of coming down, and you know, just hate it for him and all of that.
Does that make Davis the backup? I mean, given
We'll see as we go through. You know me better than that, Kevin. I mean, it's a good question. It's a
I don't know
legitimate
what
question.
the other options are. I mean, in terms
Yeah.
of guys who are suiting up.
Yeah, we'll just work our way through it.
Anything else for Coach?
Thanks, guys. Jameson, you're a stud, man.